Welcome to Lickin' on Lending, the podcast that dives deep into the heart of the mortgage industry. Your host, David Lickin, bringing you the latest insights, trends, and updates from the world of mortgages. Whether you're a seasoned industry veteran or just getting started, this show is your go-to source for all things mortgage. Let's get started. This is Lickin' on Lending. Now your host, David Lickin.
Listeners, we're in for another treat. We're going to be talking to Brian Covey. If you've heard anything from Brian or heard him talk, you know what an inspiration he is. He's always got a positive message, focusing people on having the right mindset, building success. This guy has got success around him. It follows him. Everything. He's walking in a cloud of success. And so I'm really excited to have Brian on there. Listeners, we're focusing on two things. Number one, we're talking about technology that can change your life. The industry is changing. If you're not using AI technology, you're going to be left in the dust. And AI can make your life so much easier. The other thing is we're interviewing guys like Brian that can help set your mind, get it in the right tack. What they talk about is a sailboat can sail into the wind. It's how you tack and how you learn skillfully handle the wind that's coming at you to move it off the sail. And so, Brian Covey, good to have you here, friend.
David, it's been an honor to get to know you, and we get to hang out at the last event there, the Housing Wire and all that. I was like,
yes,
we got a jam because you're an icon in the industry. And I was like, okay, we have a lot of things.
We got a lot in common. That's the other thing. We share our same faith and we have the same optimism. We both bring a lot of energy to wherever we show up. And the thing that we don't have in common that I am seeking to emulate is your discipline to work out. You've got almost zero body fat. You're just a maniac on there. I'm 74 years old and I got to get rid of some of this and keep working at it. So we'll be going at it. So keep inspiring me in that. One thing you are, Brian, you're a divisional senior vice president at CrossCountry Mortgage. I'm really interested in why CrossCountry, why that's working so well for you, because you've moved around some, and it takes a while to find the right community to be a part of. And I'm really excited to hear what Ron and the community has done there. I'm really excited about the fact that you invited me to attend one of Ron's events, one of your leadership. I'm going to be doing that this fall sometime. Really looking forward to that. But let's get into this. And for those who don't know you, I think it's important that we start out with where your journey in mortgage lending started. So give us that story. How did you get into this crazy business?
Oh, David, I'm sure like all of us, I went to school for mortgage and not true, right? We all know. I played D1 college soccer. That was my ticket. And
really?
I had a scholarship.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so University of Memphis, interesting enough. I thought I was going to a different school. Let's just say God had a different plan. And the coach at Memphis kept following up, would come to my games. I was playing there locally. Our high school won 3 out of 4 state championships. Like we had a pedigree we had some athletes ahead of me that they just set the standard. So I was always around these guys. I got to captain my last junior and senior year. Wow. I got to go play at Memphis. I played all 4 years, which I tell everybody, wow. That meant a lot. I got to play. Whereas at some of the other schools, maybe a little bit larger, higher rank, maybe I would have sat for a year or two. Don't know. But I went to Memphis, and I got a chance to become a Tiger. Got a great business education there, Fulgham College of Business.
So you did get a business degree. Okay.
I did. So I would say, like, I got that, and I loved marketing. So I look back, like my classes I enjoyed, the professors I enjoyed. They were talking about Warren Buffett. They were talking about investing. They were talking about accounting. And I'm like, what do I do with this? I got drafted out early. I got to play a little bit of pro ball. And that was always my dream.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I left school in the spring when I got drafted and picked up by Nashville, interesting enough. Living here now, so full circle. Yeah. But, man, that was my dream, David. And I went and did that. I got my coaching license. I thought I was going to become a coach. I was going to go back, get my graduate degree. I happened to go one day as I'm finishing up my classes and promised my parents I would graduate. So I came back, get my scholarship done, go to a career fair. Wells Fargo Financial is there. I don't know if you remember those guys.
Oh, yeah, I sure do.
Oh, man. Anybody that's been in consumer finance or consumer direct and all that world, it's a different world. But they hire athletes. They hire people that work. And I'm like, that's me. I'm trainable if you'll teach me. So we're literally doing furniture financing. We're doing auto loans, personal loans. If you got lucky, you did a big home debt consolidation loan, right?
Yep.
So I learned for a little over a year in that system. And then one of my friends was on the mortgage side. And that's where I got my beginning was I went over and I would watch him. I would hang out. I would send him referrals because, look, we were doing like 15% rates. And he's over here at 7. And I'm going, I'm gonna send you my referrals. And he says, Brian, you should come to mortgage. I got a whopping $2,000 a month guarantee for 2 months. And they said, hey, here's the guidelines. And I remember I got a Todd Duncan CD, High Trust Sales and Marketing. And they're like, here you go. And here's a mentor and here's some things, but just go out there and make sales calls. So I went to open houses, did all that. But David, I'm grateful and thankful because that year plus at Financial that I'm making cold calls, doing all that.
Like, I say, Brian, I started out in consumer finance, went to work for a bank, got into a management training program. One of the things I had to do was make car loans and those finance loans. And where there's something about when you make the loan, you look at a credit application, you make a credit decision, and we don't have the guidelines of consumer finance like we do in mortgage. And it's do you think this person is going to make their payments? And then if they don't, I had to go repossess the car or the motorcycle that we made the loan on. And I don't think there's anything better about learning the principles and that getting that gut feel for what goes on. And it's a great training ground. So anyone listening to this wanting to get in the industry, it's fine. Get right into mortgage if you want to. But if you find yourself getting into consumer finance first, it's not a bad place to start. In fact, I'll think it's going to give you advantages down the road. You're not going to make as much. You can make a lot more in mortgage lending, but it's a great place. I think I want to underscore that with that a part of your journey. So you got into mortgage, and then you got right into the sales side of it.
Right in as a home mortgage consultant is what we called them. And I was a junior. Okay. And I tell people this is, if you go back, a lot of people don't hear a lot of this story, but for 6 months, I was a junior under a gentleman named Donald Simpson. I'll never forget, Donald's still a buddy of mine, moved out of Memphis. But I would study. We would literally sit in a small, almost 10 by 10 office, and I would listen to him on the phone. I would have questions, and he was right there, and I would ask him, say, hey, where do I go for this? Hey, what do I do on that? And I was learning by being in the room. And
that's a mentor. That's a mentorship program. It works the best. Mentorship programs, it's so much better. There's different ones. I remember Chad Overhauser, who's now runs production over at Guild, his good friend. I helped him get in the industry. In fact, I did get him in the industry. And then he memorized the entire Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac seller servicer guide. He has got a photographic memory. Not many people like that out there. But when it comes through mentoring, like what you had, that is the best. So started with a finance background, got great mentoring. So how did it go when you actually got out started doing it for yourself?
I was the one that, being an athlete, I didn't want to be second or third or any of that.
The competitive nature.
To be real. I wanted to be first. And I'll say what I found my competitive advantage and edge is I was willing to adopt technology back then, which is not what it is today, but I would watch the videos that Todd would send out, High Trust Sales and Marketing. I would go to open houses after church on a Sunday. Never forget, Dave, I would literally drive through neighborhoods that we couldn't afford. They were the bigger home prices. When it's like, I would drive through and I would take pictures. I would call the agents. I would walk into there, and I just made sales calls. And then during the week, I would follow up with them to set appointments. Because my manager said, hey, if you talk to enough real estate agents, you're going to get enough referrals. And I was fortunate in that my network, a lot of us were young, trying to buy our first home. So what I did is I went out to all my friends, all the families I'd played soccer with, and everybody. I was like, hey guys, this is what I'm doing. I might be new. I'll work hard. I'll give you great service. I'll take care of you. And that was really
that's how you got started.
Setting. Yeah.
Well, kudos to finding Todd. Todd's a dear friend. I just interviewed him again, and I'm a part of Fuel Inc., which he's doing now. And Todd and I have been friends for decades. In fact, I'm the guy that talked him into going out on his own and starting. That you'll hear that if you ever get a chance to listen to the story that we recorded here recently. I was there at the very beginning. I just recorded that story, and we're going to be posting that out. But Todd is a great resource. What a man of... I'm just amazed at the material he has curated over the years and the powerful. And so another great thing, find a good coach. And is that why you got into coaching? Because you're now a coach.
Yeah, 100%. Is I look at the mentors I had through my journey. And
was it mostly Todd? Was it primarily Todd?
It was Todd, and then Wells. I will say Wells was known for this. I almost spent 13 years there. So it was just shy of 13 years. And I remember, David, every time, like when I got promoted to branch manager, area manager, regional, like all those levels, I didn't know what I was doing. Let's be real. Like you get promoted and you're like, now what? And so I had mentors. Shout out to one of my buddies over at Rate, Jim Ebley, was area manager. And when I got promoted to area, they're like, hey, you need a peer mentor. And they were great about that. And so I share that story because no matter what company you're at today, you need peer mentors that have been doing it longer than you. And here's what I knew. They're from soccer. If I got around people that were already successful, and like even in the pro ranks or college, you would hang out with the upperclassmen like, hey, what are you doing here? How are you doing that? What's your training off the field? Like you just ask questions.
Yeah, you're naturally wired. You have that in your training and your athletic background. Yeah. So that's tremendous.
I'm wired to be a coach. And I'll tell you, I've even had someone reach out to me today. Dave, this is the best compliment. is I don't advertise that I coach. I'm very selective about the executives and kind of C-suite because I think that is an underserved market.
Yes.
And what I've realized, someone reached out to me today and they said, hey, I'm looking for a coach. They aligned up on our faith first, which was an honor there. And they said, hey, we've watched you. I've watched you. I've heard you speak. You're the same person online as offline. And this is the best comment. I go, I need more of you in my life. I'm willing to pay to have access to you. Will you coach me? What would it look like? I'm like,
is that sales coaching, did you say?
Sales coaching. And then the mortgage business, of course, they run a branch, very successful, by the way. And then they've worked with someone else and they just said, hey, I want to go to that next level. And the things that you're doing, I want to learn how you did them. Not only share that story with people is you got to put the reps, you got to do the things. Like I'm sharing all these things that I went through, different versions of Brian. The one today, you might see it and go, man, that's awesome. I want to do all that. I'm like, I've paid dues along the way and failed so many times.
Failing.
But the right mentors, if you want to figure out how to get there with less big failures, I would say, you're still going to fail, but less big failures, man, put the right people in your life. And that's
such a good point.
That's it, man.
Such a good point. One of the things we talked about in preparing for this podcast interview was something you talk about, presence effect. I want to understand what that means.
Yeah. So Dave, this has been one, I stumbled into this a little over a year ago, and it always comes out of your own life lessons that you learned. And I realized there were too many times in my life I was not being present, like either with my kids, I was in a meeting with someone, I would go to that event that I'd paid money for, and I felt like I was distracted. I was thinking about the next thing. I'm worried about, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. And what I realized is there was these moments passing me by, and I wasn't present in those. And it's almost like the theory of like multitasking that we all probably are guilty. We have distractions everywhere. We got TVs, we got smart devices, we got people trying to text us. They can direct message you, they can call you. Like, think about all the ways you get distracted.
It's over the top.
It's way more than what we're used to or equipped to, and our attention span has dropped. So the presence effect is this. It's how you show up mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually into a situation that you can give what I believe is your greatest gift, which is your presence. And I would just ask everybody listening to this is, think back to the last time that you had somebody that gave you, they're full of presence, like they're they were just
full attention, attention.
They're in.
Yeah.
And think about the opposite. The last time you had a conversation, and I've had one of those recently, and you know the person's like, they're not even there. Are they out in the backyard, like trying to do something? Are they watching TV? Are they on social media? Like they're not there. How many times in life do we go through this? And what I started to realize, Dave, if you just look at statistics and decision fatigue and all these things go together, we're all craving influence. We're all craving impact and all that. And what I would charge people is if you can be present in the moments, less moments, but more present is going to give you deeper relationships, more connection, and more fulfillment. And how do I know it? Because I'm living it. And I'm not perfect at it, but it's, man, when you
I think this, and this is one of those things where your kids can grab your attention. I have two daughters. You talk about what you're doing with your family, and boy, they'll be in your face. Dad, eyes, talk to me. And we have a tendency because they're little kids. They don't think, they don't process things at our level. And we have so many important things we're doing. There's nothing more important to be present with your kids in that moment, but also with the customers. We take it across the board and everything we're doing. And so true. We have so many distracted conversation, distracted driving. We have now apps that tell us we're being distracted as we're driving. It's such a good place to go. But how do you apply this? So when you're coaching someone and they're saying, I do struggle with being present. Well, how do you coach someone to increase their skills to be in the moment, fully engaged in that conversation?
I believe it starts with your intention.
Oh, intention. Okay, good.
And I start there because if you set an intention, and everybody's done this in your life, whether you realize it or not, you've set an intention that you want to lose weight. You set an intention that you want to do more production.
Set a specific goal.
You've just set your intentions. What typically will happen for majority of us is that intention will last for a little bit. We'll become more aware of the things we're eating. We'll become aware of our workouts. We'll become aware of our sales activities. And we start just to pay attention. And what I say everybody is your intention has to be aligned with your goal. Because if you're not setting that intention, then you're not going to even be in the right mindset. You're not going to have any chance of creating habits that will align. So if anybody's listening to this, where I would start is, what's your intention? What is it that you're trying to create?
So good.
To be more present. There's a 4-part framework, and I'll walk us through this. But the first one is your intention should be, I want to be more present in the moments that matter. And pick those with your intention. Hey, when I'm with my kids, when I'm with my spouse, when I'm with a customer, when I'm in my workout, can I lock in? We all can, for the 15 minutes, the 30 minutes that's there. The answer is yes. If your intentions are aligned, you'll see yourself do that. So I'd say, Dave, that's where I'd start. Be present, set your intentions on that, and then you can self-evaluate. Then it gives you a little bit, almost like a self-reflection of a scoreboard of, hey, rate yourself after that conversation. Was I a 1, which really would have been horrible, or a 5, like I crushed it. I didn't get distracted. I was in it. Rate yourself and go through the day. Try this for 3 days. It's going to be awkward, but think about it.
So do you have a little tablet off the side, how you make it some notes of present where you're going through it I'm just thinking as I'm doing these calendar appointments that I have, I'm real good on calendar blocking, time blocking. And is that then you go in and put some, or do you do it at the end of the day, journaling as you think about your day? What is the practical way where we do the evaluation and really make the course corrections in our lives?
Great question. I love to do it right after. It's fresh.
Right after each call?
Right after. So let's just say this morning, like I'm playing soccer in the driveway with my son, right? We're juggling the ball. We're doing that kind of stuff. How I can rate myself fairly is, hey, did I pull my phone out? Did I get distracted? Was I fully present in that moment? What was I doing in that? Did they feel like I was fully present? I can immediately give myself a grade, replay the tape in 2 minutes or less and go, hey, what did I do well? What were the things I could have improved on? Okay, the next time I get a chance, that's there.
How about this? Is this something where you ask the person their feedback? Hey, I got a question. I'm really working on being present. Did you feel that you had my full attention during this conversation? Is that something that you practice?
Yes. This is where you get into seeking feedback, and that's actually part of the steps there.
Yeah.
Where when you get into this and you're able to ask for feedback, I think that's an elite level. I'm to be honest. Most people don't ask for feedback in their job. They don't ask for feedback in their relationships. And if you were to ask your spouse or ask your kids, ask your best referral partner.
That's so good.
How present was I? And let them know I'm working on being more present in these moments that matter and with people that matter. And you're one of them.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. What's so funny about that is as you're talking, my phone is ringing. I'm going, I want to shut that off, but I'm going, I'm not going to miss this moment.
But you're
we
aware
all
of it.
have constant interruptions. They're coming at us constantly. How do you manage those, Brian? How do you coach people to manage those interruptions?
So here's the thing that I've done. And again, this is for everybody. You can do this. It's not a perfect science, but I would say you want to limit the distractions in your world, right? So I talk about your environment where you work, where you're going to be spending time. Limit the distractions. The people that have TVs in their office, that doesn't work for me. Like I can't have a TV on. I can't have other things. I can't have multiple devices going. Like my phone's turned over. That for me works. And I would also tell you, I turned off all of my notifications except for my text message. And then if my wife calls. So you can do that on your phone. So I don't get dinged. If somebody hits me up on LinkedIn, somebody's on Facebook, somebody's on Instagram, somebody sends me an email, somebody sends me a Teams message.
Yeah, you're out there all over the place. Yeah.
You can't, I'll just tell you guys, you think you can manage these notifications. We're actually, psychologically, we're not wired to be going, boom. That's like chasing the squirrel that you just saw. And so if you can start to eliminate these, then what you'll start to find is this new habit and routine, which is, hey, I'm going to check my messages after this 30-minute podcast we do. And within that next 30 minutes, I can get back to everybody. Yeah. Right? And you're building a muscle is the way I like to think of this.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah. It's spoken as an athlete. That's a great way to put it.
It is a muscle because here's what I know is if you don't use a muscle, it atrophies. So what we've had happen is we've atrophied over time and I think we've bought into a lie. Dave, a lot of us have said, I need to be on call. I need to be answering this notification, that notification.
Performance.
That is not a system. That is a broken system that we can fix.
I think a lot of it is a FOMO, where fear of missing out. There's a FOMO thing going on. It's also with text now, there's almost an expectation. I just texted you. I expect an answer immediately. I'm on a phone call. Yeah, can't you just give me an answer, yes or no? No. I think these are the things, and it's setting up the boundaries. And that's where I want to go next. This is not a position you were talking to me about. It creates real leadership. Explain what you mean by this is not a position.
Yeah, I think for a lot of us, we look at our title, we associate ourselves with what we've been told. And the reality is then we try to become this title or what the world has said, hey, this is what a divisional does. This is what a loan officer does, or branch manager, whatever you want to call it. And I think for many of us, if we were to take a step back and define success and define this role where I think about, I'm a leader. I've accepted that title. I used to fight with that and wrestle. Like, I'm not a leader. Like, I'm not qualified. I've yet to find a perfect leader except for Jesus. Let's just put that to end. Okay.
Right.
So none of
That's
us.
the only one I got figured out that is you can trust.
Hey, and we set these high expectations or standards for things that no one else lives up to, but we think we're going to live up to. And what I have come to find out in my journey is being a leader is finding out what is success in your life. Find out what success is for the people that you care about most, your spouse, your kids, those on your team.
That's
you understand that, you can step into a role that could be more of a coach right now. Nope, I could be leading them over there and just set standards. My coach always says standards over feelings. And what I think for many of us is we need to set our standards. What are those? For me, I'm working out every day. For me, I need to spend time with God every day. For me, I want to be a kind, caring person every day. I want to compete every day. Right? You start to go through these standards that are there, and you start to create this version of yourself that you're always trying to strive for that. And I believe for most people, that's who God intended you to be, by the way.
Right.
The best you. But if you don't get clear on what he has designed for you, what your strengths are, be present in these moments, then we're chasing this worldly view of here's what success is. And if you buy this, you're going to be happy. And you go on this vacation, that's going to make your life. And none of that stuff is real. And so being present, getting clear on who you are and who you want to be, that's the gap we all have is I'm here, but I want to show up as this person. And I'm working towards that every day. And
it's really good.
Short.
That's really good. How does this play into leadership?
Oh, I think this is where most people know it, but what I'll tell you, I had to learn it again last year myself in my own health journey. And most of us don't lead ourselves. Just be real. Most of us don't lead ourselves. If we were to ask, what are your priorities? What are your standards? And then we were to look at how many days we stack that we consider a win. How many days are we winning? And the elite, I will tell you, have high standards, and they also have a high percentage of days that they accomplish what they said they were going to do. They do what they said they were going to do when their feelings tell them otherwise. And Dave, this could be, hey man, you're tired. You know, you've done enough this week. Like you've already hit your sales goal. You know what? You've already lost the weight. Like you don't have to go do that workout. You don't have to go make those extra sales calls. Like we have these voices inside our head. And then we have other times where it's like, yeah, I don't even know if it'll be worth it. If I go make these extra 5 calls today or go work in my database today.
That's the negative self-talk, I think the most important type of leadership there is self-leadership, leading yourself. And then it starts with, how can you lead someone else if you're not doing an effective job of leading yourself? Which gets me into talking about, I want to get there in a minute. I was just about ready to get into your role as senior vice president, but I want to also touch on breaking free from burnout and distraction. You touched on that briefly, but I want to go into that a little more in depth. How do you coach people to do just that? Break free from burnout and distraction.
Yeah, I think we're experiencing a pretty high level of burnout right now. So I see you, I hear you. If that's what you're feeling right now, what I would say, one, is that's unfortunately more common than it should be.
Right.
Now, what I know is people that are coached and in the right environments will experience a significantly less burnout. Just those 2 factors alone.
Say that again. I want our listeners to hear that. Those that are coached.
Yep. And those that are in the right environment. So your proximity to other people that are performing at a high level will decrease that percentage of you being another casualty of burnout.
Just a really great point.
Those 2 decisions. And so how do I know that to be true? Well, it's been true in my own life, time and time again, where I go, man, when I've been feeling burned out, it's usually because I'm not aligned with my goal or I'm not aligned with the people that might be in my life. And that is one of those decisions that we all have the power to change, but we think we don't. And so I would tell you, if you don't have a coach, man, please reach out. Get a great coach. You don't have to spend a lot of money to get somebody.
I love that grit. You talk about grit a lot, especially as an athlete. It's so critical because those that are successful are not doing what feels good. They're doing what's necessary. And that's where it comes in, the determination and grit, just pure fortitude. Grit is a great word for it.
I think about this. Like when I played in soccer, D1 was like a separator from high school. You get into that and you're like, it starts to separate, I say, the men from the boys.
Yep.
But what I noticed is it wasn't always talent that separated people.
That's interesting. So true.
It's up here. It was the people. And I think back to this isn't, Brian did something wonderful. There were a few of us that we would come early and we would stay late. we would go work in the weight room, which for soccer players is not the norm. Like we had to put on weight, we had to lift weights. But I remember staying after practices. And my junior year, I got called up to the U23 national team again. And I remember that lit a fire under me, is if I'm going to be called up to that level, I'm not at that level today. I need extra trainings. I asked our coach, and I remember he would stay after and do shooting practice with me. And you need to look for these opportunities to put yourself into challenging, difficult situations. That's how you expand the comfort zone. That's how you grow your capacity. And I think many of us, Dave, and I'm included in this, is too often we'll have a little bit of success and we're like, okay, now I can kind of coast. And I think that's where burnout, one of the areas it comes from.
Oh, true.
We just coast it. And if you're not growing and you're not improving, let me just tell you, Tony Robbins says it, right? You are dying. You are going the other way. It's either forward, backwards. There is no neutral in this life. Death. So just if you find yourself in that zone, the easiest thing you can do is what I did last year was I said, what's the one area if I attacked for 90 days would then make the other areas of my life better? For me, it was my health and fitness. I looked at a picture. I saw I was not happy with the way I looked. And I said, if I get my health in order, I'll have more energy. If I get my health in order, I'll be able to connect to people on a weight loss journey. If I get my health in order, I'm going to feel more confident and better about myself and my relationships and all these things. And let me just tell you, like, I'm still on the journey, but I ended up having such breakthroughs in that year that the conversations, my business, my relationships, David, all off of that, my faith.
All shifted. Yeah.
My energy to go, hey, you know what? At the end of the day, I still need energy with my kids. In the beginning of the morning, I wake up with no alarm clock. I'm weird. Like I just wake up. There's a 5 in front of it. I'm up. And I think you just build
the same thing. Yeah.
routines, but I don't need
an alarm clock anymore. It's just that if you're really focused and determined, which is really talking about mastering how you show up as the most valuable asset. You talk about this and expand on this for our audience.
Yeah. So I believe all of us have this version of ourselves. If we were to look as an outsider watching a movie of ourselves, I think of it this way, and we're watching, how would that person, that character perform? How would they show up?
Okay.
And I look at it from
it's
that
like
way,
almost like if you were casting a movie, you're looking at it from that standpoint is how would I imagine this character to have a successful movie, have a successful outcome? How does this person
weird? I like to gamify it a little. I have this self-talk with myself. It's like, how would I show up if I was watching myself work out? If I was watching myself playing with my kids, if I was watching myself talking to that customer referral partner, like, would I be any good? Like, how would I want to show up? That's a little bit of visualization. And so for everybody out there, if you ever want to do that, I will actually close my eyes, visualize, how am I going to show up in that meeting? How am I going to show up before I speak to a group? And if you can get clear on that, what's interesting is our subconscious doesn't know the difference between the reality of what happened in the movie I just created. And so when those start to come together, again, my dad's a psychologist, so I use a lot of things up here that I go, there are things that you can hack into your brain and create a better version of yourself that when you show up, you are your best.
That's really good.
That's how I say, show up as your best self. Always aim for that. And visualization has been a tool for me. I learned it in sports, and it's no different in life. Visualize who you want to be and how you show up, and watch how you start to assimilate and become more like that person.
Yeah, there's a great movie that I recommend to anyone I'm coaching. It says 7 Days in Utopia. And it talks, have you ever watched that movie? It's one that, you go grab that. That's one that you'll bring into your coaching practice. And one scene in there, Robert Duvall is teaching this. Robert Duvall fell out of the professional circuit of golf. He ended up in Utopia, Texas. Just happens to be just a short distance from where I live. And in this story, and this kid who's trying to be a professional golf has a meltdown, and he gets mad, throws his clubs in his trunk, and drives and ends up in Utopia, staying here. And Duvall starts taking him under his wing and showing him and teaching him to paint a picture of how to stroke this ball to get from around this tree. It's the most brilliant. It's got so many metaphors. So put that out there. We'll put a link in it in the show notes so people can go, our listeners can watch it. I recommend you do it. It's just the most amazing story, and it's got a great message as well. I want to talk about your success with Ron. You moved around a little bit, trying to find the right community. I respect people who will do that. A lot of people say, yeah, but moved around a lot. You go, it took me a little while to find my community. But when you find it, now Ron, I have not met Ron. I'm so looking forward to doing that. But he is a fierce competitor. But he's also not wanting to be the guy on center stage as you described him to me.
Yeah.
Talk about your relationship with Ron and why is it working there so well for you? Why has this been such a good place to land for you?
Well, I'm glad you said it that way, because I was reflecting back, and I'm one of those, like, I was at my first company at Wells almost 13 years.
Yeah.
And I thought, I came in the business thinking that's just where I'd retire and that's what would happen.
Yeah.
But I look and go, now it's an advantage, because the people I've been able to work with there at Wells, working with Casey and Toby at Movement, and of course, my time at Loan Depot with Bianchi, and then Dan Hansen and Anthony Shea, and like all those guys, and then my time at a smaller company with Revolution, like what those guys have been able to do is super cool.
Yeah.
And I got to see a different version. And I will tell you what I learned is where I am in this season, as I look back at my success and where I thrive the most. And you said it, is Ron's a fierce competitor. I like to be part of a winning team. That's just how I'm wired. I want to be part of that. I want to compete, do everything fairly, but I want to compete. And so I was looking for an environment like that had an entrepreneurial spirit that I've experienced before, but also had some structure. They were very innovative on tech and marketing. And when I got to know Ron, the last year I was introduced to several CEOs. And I was fortunate. Davis had an executive recruiter reach out, and they introduced me to all these people. And Ron just stood out. And I'm like, man, what this guy has built, his humbleness, like not wanting to be center stage, but the way he recognizes his team. I will tell you, Dave, I've never seen anybody do it better. And that how he is such a fierce competitor, and he also instills that in his team. And I always look and go, man, the more you're around winners like that, a coach, a leader, a CEO, the rest of the team is going to follow suit. And where I am in my career is I still have a lot of years left. I want to compete, I want to win, and I want to help more people achieve their definition of success. And it was really, for me, it was a no-brainer, because once I got to know Ron and then the rest of the group, I have a ton of friends here at CCM. I'm like, that's where I fit. And it's a little piece of all these other companies. As I started to look back, what did I love most here? What did I love most there? And I started to put together, and I said, man, I can't say it's the best kept secret, because obviously number one retail lender, not really a secret. But I will tell you, this is where we're going excites me even more than what the team's been able to accomplish. And I'm at the right place.
Yeah, when you hook up your train to someone who has a vision, and you should have a shared vision, what a powerful thing. How can people learn more about your coaching? You're an inspirational guy. And every time I get on the phone with you, or I sat and we really started developing our relationship at the Housing Wire event at the Economic Summit. And I've heard about you. I've admired your videos, but people need to get to know you, spend some time with you. You are a treasure trove. First of all, just a wonderful human being, but you're a treasure trove of knowledge and wisdom, especially when it comes to having sales success. How can people learn more about you? How do you sign up for your program? All of that.
Thank you. Number one, because I always say this is like from my dad being my first mentor and coach to the people I had through sports and now in business. I'm a byproduct. Each one of them imprinted something that they gave me, right? I always say they gave me a lesson, a gift. And so I'm this byproduct of all these people. And I look back at that lineage and I'm like, wow. And I always want to make them proud every day. And so thank you, because that's how I want to show up, is to honor those people that have got me here. And Dave, the easiest way I tell people is I hang out on LinkedIn a lot, right? So you can find me there. I am on Instagram. And so if this has resonated or you want to connect up, just drop me a DM. I always say that's the easiest way. Let me know what resonated, connect up with me. I don't promote the coaching because I'm building a division here, and we're going to build out. My ultimate goal is a $3 to $5 billion division. Wow. And so that's where I'm focused, and in my family. So leading that, the coaching thing really came. It's interesting how God will put you in situations where even the speaking and the coaching, where it was people would call me and say, hey, I really need help with this. I've talked to other people, I've worked with other people, and I feel like you're the right one. And so it's more of an answered calling versus I'm not going out there, hey, come coach with Brian.
I think there's the law of attraction. I think when you are genuinely yourself, you're going to attract people that are seeking that, or seeking that the same outcome or the same goals and objectives they do. So it's a law of attraction. I think I can understand why people would be drawn to you. I was drawn to you after I met you, and we spent some time together at lunch. I'm going, I want to spend more time with this guy. And then I find out you're best friends. I used to be in a band with one of my clients, Garrett Locklear. And you and Garrett is a rock star when it comes to his originator. You both are there in the same community. And then his Candid product is just over the top as well. So
incredible. Friends like that along the way. People don't know, play bass. Garrett play guitar. Great guitar player, by the way.
Is he?
If you might reach out, I do put out a newsletter. That's what we've been promoting lately, is every week. We've gone to 2 a week. We've got the podcast. So if anybody wants, if this really sparked you and you're like, man, I want more of that, I put out the podcast. We're moving next week. I've got a solo episode and then a guest every week. and then the newsletters twice a week. Go connect with that and then connect up with me individually. And we're going to be working on some projects together too. It sounds like working with Todd on the fuel piece.
Yes,
and I'm working with Richard Milligan in 4C recruiting and getting to speak. So there's a lot of things that I just think they all complement each other. As we're building out our mortgage division, and my vision with that, Dave, my thing is I'm going to serve people where they're at. If they join CCM and our team, cool. But if not, great. How can I serve you on the journey? Because I think there's a lot of underserved, especially producing leaders.
Certainly are.
That, hey, if I can help and be a surrogate leader, is what we call it, like help them win more.
Surrogate leader. I've never heard that expression. I love that, though. That's exactly it. That's good. Brian, what a joy to have you here today. I'm just so grateful to connected with you in such a meaningful way, and now to have you as a guest. I can't wait to share this out to our listeners and have you back. There's just a lot more in you. We just barely hit the tap on this one. Just a little bit more. Can't wait to get a lot of the principles. Thank you, friend. Appreciate you so much.
Appreciate you.
You bet. God bless. Listeners, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this podcast and sharing it with others. A lot of great information in this one, and I appreciate you sharing it with others. Another thing I want to say is check out our sponsors, Byte Software, Finastra, Angel AI, True, Candid, Mortgage Bankers Association of America, Lenders One, as well as the Mortgage Collaborative, Modex, Knowledge Coop, Redder, Mortgage Advisory Tools, and Fuel. Appreciate our sponsors and grateful to you, our listeners, for supporting our sponsors and checking them out on our website. Lykken on Lending, go to the sponsorship page, and you can listen to some great content from our sponsors. Have a great day, everybody. Like and subscribe and share this podcast. Appreciate you.
You've been listening to Lykken on Lending. Our passion is to bring you the latest insights, trends, and updates from the world of mortgages. So on this show, if you're a seasoned industry veteran or just getting started, it's your go-to source for all things mortgage. We hope you've enjoyed the show. We'll be back soon. Take care, and we'll see you next time on Lykken on Lending.